You know that feeling, right? Your calendar's packed, the requests keep coming, and you just keep saying yes.
Yeah.
Even when, like, every part of you wants to scream, no!
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of being stretched thin, like you're juggling way too much.
Exactly. And, you want to please everyone, but you just end up, yeah, overwhelmed.
It really often comes down to something seemingly simple, the difficulty of saying no. We've been looking into some great material on this.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, why it's so hard, why it's actually super important, and how you can start saying no a bit more effectively.
Right. This isn't about being difficult or, selfish. It's really a skill for well-being, both personally and professionally.
Totally. So if you've ever felt that pressure, that guilt, when you really wanted to say no, this is for you. We want to pull out the key insights on, well, how to take back some control.
hmm The sources we looked at really get into the why behind it all and then offer some practical ways forward.
Okay, great. So our mission here is clear. Unpack why saying no feels like climbing a mountain sometimes, why it's essential for, well, not climbing that mountain of stress, and how to actually do it without feeling terrible or messing up relationships.
Exactly. Let's get into it. So, first off, why is it so difficult? What makes saying no feel like such a big deal?
Good question. Where do we start?
Well, a huge factor, maybe the biggest, is the fear of disappointing other people. Just the thought of letting someone down.
Oh, yeah. That anxiety kicks up. Like, what will they think of me? Will they be mad?
Precisely. And that often links to another big one, the desire to be liked. It's natural, right? We're social creatures. We want approval.
Mm-hmm. Saying yes feels like the easy path to staying in everyone's good books sometimes, even if it costs us.
It really does. And then there's parental guilt and obligation. A lot of us are sort of conditioned to be helpful, aren't we?
Definitely. Like, it's your job to always step up. Saying no can feel like you're breaking some unwritten rule,
Mm.
especially if you're usually the reliable one.
That conditioning runs deep. And that guilt, it can be really powerful even when the request is, frankly, unreasonable.
So true. And what about just avoiding conflict? Nobody really likes confrontation, do they?
Right. That's another major piece. Sometimes saying no feels like it might spark an argument or at least some, awkwardness.
Yeah. And who needs more awkwardness? So the automatic yes just slips out to keep things smooth.
Exactly. It's the path of least resistance in the moment, even if it causes problems later. Plus, you've got cultural factors at play, too.
How so?
Well, in many cultures or social circles, saying no directly can be seen as impolite or rude. So there's that extra layer of social pressure telling you to just agree.
Wow. Okay. So it's like we're wrestling with our own psychology, our social instincts, and cultural norms. No wonder it's tough.
It really is a complex mix.
But the material we looked at is really clear. Pushing past that discomfort and learning to say no is,
Hmm.
well, it's vital. Why is it so important?
Okay, so the core reason. It's about protecting your most valuable, non-renewable resources, your time and your energy.
Right. You only have so much of both.
Exactly. And here's a key idea. Every time you say yes to something that isn't really important to you, you're effectively saying no to something that is.
Hmm. That's a powerful way to think about it. It reframes the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's about choosing where your yes really counts.
Precisely. It's about intentionality. And saying no is absolutely fundamental for setting healthy boundaries.
Boundaries. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, when you consistently say no to things that overstretch you or don't align with your priorities, people start to learn. They learn to respect your limits.
Ah, so it's like you're teaching people how you operate, what you can and can't take on.
You are. And it's not just about how others see you, it massively impacts your own self respect and confidence, too.
How does that work?
Think about it. Standing up for yourself, for your needs, for your time, it reinforces your own sense of worth. Each time you do it, even in a small way, it builds that muscle.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like you're telling yourself, my needs matter.
Exactly. Plus, when you're not constantly overcommitted and frazzled, you actually make better decisions. You have the mental space to choose things that align with your real goals.
That makes total sense. You're not just reacting out of obligation or panic.
Right, you're being proactive. And maybe one of the most critical points, especially today, saying no is essential for managing stress and preventing burnout.
Oh, absolutely. Running yourself ragged by saying yes to everything is like the fast track to exhaustion.
It truly is. Overcommitment is a recipe for feeling overwhelmed, depleted, and eventually just completely burnt out.
Okay, so we get the why.
Yeah.
It's hard, but crucial. Let's pivot to the how. What are some practical ways to actually say no effectively? The stuff we looked at had some good concrete strategies.
Yes. One of the most fundamental pieces of advice is be clear and direct.
Simple, but not easy.
Sometimes. But instead of something wishy-washy like, oh, I'm not sure if I can, try a firm but polite, I'm unable to commit to that right now.
Okay, just straightforward. Less room for confusion.
Exactly. It minimizes ambiguity. Then another tactic is offering a brief explanation if you feel it's needed or appropriate.
Brief being the key word.
Yes. Concise. Like, thanks for asking, but I need to prioritize my existing commitments. Or, my plate's full right now, so I can't take on anything new.
Right. No need for a 5-minute monologue justifying your decision.
Definitely not. Over-explaining can actually weaken your no. Just a short, honest reason is usually enough.
Okay, what else?
Suggesting alternatives can be a good strategy if it feels right. If you can't do the specific thing asked, maybe you can offer a different kind of help or point them to someone else.
Ah, so you're still being helpful, in a way, but without taking on the original request, like, I can't help with X, but maybe Y would work. Or have you thought about asking Z?
Precisely. It shows you're not just dismissing them, but you're still protecting your own boundaries.
I like that. It feels constructive. And then there was this thing called the sandwich method.
Ah.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, it's about softening the no. You basically sandwich the refusal between two positive statements.
Okay, break it down.
So you start with something positive, like acknowledging the request. Thanks so much for thinking of me for this project. I appreciate it.
Okay, the first slice of bread.
Right. Then the clear no, the filling. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take it on right now.
Got it.
And then you close with another positive statement, the top slice. I hope it goes really well, or I'm sure you'll find the right person for it.
Ah, okay. Positive. No, positive. The sandwich. It seems like a way to be clear, but also, kind.
Exactly. It maintains goodwill. And finally, underlying all of these strategies is the importance of just practicing assertiveness, using firm but polite language, not being aggressive but not being passive either, and, importantly, avoiding loads of apologies.
Right. Saying, I'm so sorry, but kind of undermines it, doesn't it?
It can, yeah. It can imply you feel guilty for setting a perfectly reasonable boundary. Be clear, be respectful, but be firm.
Okay, those are great general tools. But saying no feels different in different situations, right?
Yeah.
Like work versus family.
Absolutely. The context matters. So let's talk about work first.
Yeah, how do you handle it there, maybe with a boss or colleague?
Well, you could focus on priorities. Something like, thanks for the opportunity. Right now, I need to focus on finishing X and Y to meet our deadlines, so I can't take on this additional task.
That connects it back to existing work goals.
Smart.
Or you could buy some time to assess. Let me check my current workload and the deadlines I have. Can I get back to you by the end of the day?
Ooh, I like that. It stops you from that knee-jerk yes and gives you space to actually check if you can do it.
Exactly. It's about making an informed decision, not an impulsive one.
Okay, what about family and friends? That often feels much trickier, more emotional.
It definitely can be. Here, you might soften it slightly while still being clear. Maybe, I'd normally love to, but I really need some downtime this weekend. Can we plan something for next week instead?
So decline the specific thing, but reinforce the relationship and offer an alternative time. Right. Or, I'm so sorry I can't make it to the party, but I'd love to grab coffee with you soon to catch up properly. Again, valuing the person but declining the event.
It shows you care, even if you can't say yes this time. And what about romantic relationships? Boundaries are key there, too.
Hugely important. It might sound like, I really value our time together, but I also need some solo time tonight just to recharge. Healthy relationships need space.
True. Or maybe offering a compromise.
Yeah, like, I'm not super keen on that specific plan, but how about we try this other thing instead? It's about finding what works for both of you.
Okay. And just general social stuff, like invitations you just can't face.
If often a simple, polite decline is fine. Thanks so much for inviting me, but I won't be able to make it. You usually don't need a long story.
Cute and simple. Good
Yeah.
advice. What if the request is just totally out there, like completely unreasonable?
Then you need to be firmer. It's okay to say, I'm not comfortable doing that, or that doesn't really align with my priorities right now.
Direct, clear, sets a firm line.
Yes, sometimes that's absolutely necessary.
Okay, this is all really helpful. But let's tackle the elephant in the room, the guilt. Even if you know how to say no and you do it, that awful feeling afterwards, how do we deal with that?
Ah, yes, the guilt hangover. It's common. One strategy is to consciously remind yourself of your own worth. Your time, your energy, your needs, they are valid, period.
So like giving yourself permission.
Exactly. And try that reframing technique we talked about earlier. Remember that saying no to this allows you to say a better, more genuine yes to something else that truly matters.
Right. It's not just negative. It creates space for the positive, shifting the focus.
Mm-hmm. And practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. It's okay to prioritize your well-being. It isn't selfish, it's necessary.
It takes practice to really internalize that, I bet.
It does. And remember that powerful little phrase, no, is a complete sentence. You don't always owe anyone a detailed explanation.
Just no. Wow. That feels radical sometimes, but maybe it shouldn't.
Maybe not. So overcoming the guilt is partly internal work. But how do we make saying no when appropriate more of a habit? How do we build that muscle?
Yeah, good question. How do you get better at it?
Well, like any skill, start small. Practice saying no to low-stakes requests first, things where the outcome doesn't feel massive. Build your confidence gradually.
Okay, like declining an extra topping you don't want before declining a huge project.
Sort of, yeah. And role-playing can actually help. Seriously, practice saying the words out loud, maybe with a friend, or even just to yourself. See how it feels.
Get comfortable with the words themselves.
Exactly. Also, reflect on past experiences. Think about times you said yes when you shouldn't have. What were the consequences? Reminding yourself of the stress or resentment can motivate you to set boundaries next time.
Using past pain as future motivation. Makes sense.
And finally, this is a big one. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries. If people consistently push back or make you feel guilty, that makes it so much harder.
Yeah, having supportive people around you who get it, who respect and know,
Yeah.
that's huge.
It really is. Now, we should also quickly touch on some common mistakes, some pitfalls people will fall into when they try to say no.
Oh, yeah, what should we avoid?
We mentioned over-apologizing. That just weakens the message.
Right. Dilutes the no.
Being too vague is another one. If you say, I'll try, or maybe, it leaves the door open and can lead to confusion or more pressure.
Just causes more hassle later.
Often, yes. Delaying the no is also not great. Putting it off just prolongs the stress for you and uncertainty for the other person. Rip the Band-Aid off politely.
You get it over with.
And again, that feeling of needing to over-justify. A simple reason is fine. A complex defense isn't necessary and can sound like you're unsure.
Okay, so avoid excessive apologies, vagueness, delays, and rambling justifications. Got it.
Those are the main traps.
So, if we manage to navigate all this, avoid the pitfalls, build the habit, what are the big picture long-term wins here? What do we gain from mastering this art of saying no?
Oh, the benefits are significant. You gain greater personal freedom, real control over how you spend your time and energy.
More freedom. I like the sound of that.
Relationships can actually become stronger, paradoxically, because they're built on honesty and mutual respect for boundaries, not resentment or obligation.
Interesting. Better boundaries lead to better relationships.
Often, yes. You'll likely see increased productivity, too, because you're focusing your energy on what truly matters to you, your actual priorities.
Makes sense. Less diluted effort.
And perhaps the most important benefit, improved overall mental health. Less stress, less overwhelm, less resentment bubbling under the surface. It's huge for well-being.
Wow. So saying no isn't negative at all. It's actually like a foundation for a more positive, balanced life.
That's exactly how the sources frame it. It's an act of self-respect, a commitment to living intentionally.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the main takeaway from this deep dive seems pretty clear. Saying no isn't selfish. It's essential self-care. It's a skill like any other.
A skill that protects our time, our energy, our sanity, really. And it can be learned and improved with practice, even if it feels awkward at first.
Right. And doing it allows us to show up better for the things we genuinely do want to say yes to.
Precisely. It empowers a more authentic and fulfilling way of engaging with the world.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. Think about one specific area in your life, maybe work, family, social stuff,
Yeah.
where you know you consistently say yes, mostly out of obligation or guilt. Just picture that situation. Now, what might actually change if you felt genuinely empowered to say no next time that situation comes up? What would that feel like? And maybe more importantly, what positive yes to yourself to another priority could that no create space for?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Yeah, really think about the immediate impact, but also the longer-term ripple effects of setting that one boundary.
Yeah.
What could it open up for you?